And if we could please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There she is.
Yep, that's her right there. Somebody want to keep an eye on her and have her come in this door? Or did you unlock the door, Zach? Okay. Okay. I am going to act as the meeting chairperson until the board has elected a president for the 2025-2026 year. We are going to appoint, or we're looking to appoint Stacy Black to the position of district clerk, commencing immediately, and the stipend for this position is $7,445. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Chris.
Do you accept?
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
No, her vote doesn't count.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. So it's 4. It'll count in just a minute for. Huh?
That was technicality.
Yeah. I mean, but we still had 4,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Yeah, you still got
That's the way they say.
Okay. Stacy. Repeat after me. I,
Stacy Black,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
district clerk
district clerk
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
You have been so sworn. And those, once I can stop choking. And once Molly has a second to be ready, and you just let me know when you are, Stacy will administer the oath of office to the Board of Education members.
Okay. Ready?
Okay.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
Chris
Stephanie Campney,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
board trustee
board trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. And we all need to make sure we sign the book at the end of the meeting, because that's really important. We need to elect a president. Do we have any nominations?
You can take the seat if you'd like, Stephanie.
Yeah, well, not, I'm used to it at this point.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? And we need a nomination for vice president.
Would you like to do it, Tom?
Oh, thank you.
I don't want to be a pig about a seat, so if you'd like to do it, you've been here a long time.
I nominate Christine Woodall.
She's gonna nominate me before I say, Molly, would you like to be?
No, yeah, I'm getting it in.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? And we need to do the oath of office again, Chris.
But they did this.
I
I, Stephanie Champney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Board President to the best of my ability. And that was without peeking.
Yay, congratulations, welcome back.
Okay, Dom.
I state your
I'll
name.
make this one.
I, Christine Woodall,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Board Vice President
and that I'll faithfully discharge the duties of Board Vice President to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, yay, welcome back. Seriously, thank you for both of you accepting that. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. I'm glad you'd like to do
I
it.
may appreciate all the work you've done before, and we know that you're in a great position. Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda appointments? Thank goodness we don't have to read them all. I have a motion. Okay, so moved. And a second? Thank you, Aubrey. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
Now you count.
Stacy Black will administer the oath of office to the appropriate appointees within 1 business day from the reorg meeting. Do you do them all in one day, Stacy?
actually, they send them to me.
Oh, okay,
They have them by notaries.
nice. So we have the appointment of Coughlin and Gerhart Law Offices for the 2025 to 2026 school year. So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second,
Thank you, Tom. And just as a reminder for everybody, we will be approving several different law offices. They all specialize in different things. So I didn't realize Nate Van Wy had gone out on his own.
just happened.
It just happened, okay? Any questions or comments about Coughlin and Gerhart? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? NVD Law, PLLC, Nathan D. Van Wy, Esquire. May I have a motion? So moved. Just gonna say it, keep moving. Chris, and a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Law offices of Bond, Shonik, and King. May I have a motion? Is that you, Molly?
Yeah.
Okay, second? Second. Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Hancock Estabrook LLP, Frank W. Miller Esquire of Council. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Harris Beach Attorneys at Law, PLLC. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Go ahead.
Was that you, Michelle?
Yeah.
So I was waiting.
You've got to get her name on there one time, right?
I didn't make a motion for like 3 or 4 months. People were angry.
Sometimes I think we need to have a random button. And if it lights up in front of you, you have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have any questions about Harris Beach Attorneys at Law? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so we're going to designate Citizens Bank, Key Bank, NBT Bank, and M&T Bank as official bank depositories. May I have a motion?
So moved.
And
Thank you,
JP
Tom.
Morgan Chase,
Hmm?
JP Morgan Chase.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, yeah.
JP Morgan Chase as well.
Sorry.
I skipped over because it was the only one down there. And a second?
Second, sorry.
No, you're fine. Again, with the light.
I got Molly.
I second the light.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, authorize the school district treasurer or deputy treasurer to invest for a period not to exceed 1 fiscal year, the balance of monies in any account which is on deposit when such balance exceeds the anticipated expenditure from such account for 1 month, all in accordance with section 1723 of the education law for the 2025 through 2026 school year. May I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
But
Goodness. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstain? You see the list of meeting dates for the 2025 through 2026 school year. May I have a motion?
Sorry.
So moved. Need a second.
second.
Tom moved.
Oh, sorry.
So do you want to be a second, Aubrey?
Oh, I thought Tom was talking to Molly.
No?
Oh,
I interrupted him. My fault.
Any questions or comments?
September 19th is a Friday.
Yeah,
That's right. It's supposed to be the 9th, I think.
yeah.
it's a Monday,
But I'm
Monday.
assuming-
Thank you. Tom and Aubrey, are you okay with amending the motion so it reads September 9th?
That's
Okay.
just for people's information.
was-
April's Monday.
Oh, yeah.
One that we always. do.
Yeah, April is one that we
Yeah.
have to do on
on
Right.
Monday.
Monday because it's a designated, state designated date for BOCES votes. So instead of having 2 meetings, we move our meeting to Monday.
Okay.
Some are the second Tuesday and some are the third.
And some are both.
There's a couple that are two, but I mean,
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? For the Health Insurance Consortium, we usually designate a delegate who will go to the meetings, but then we do the entirety of the board as the alternate so that any one of us can attend. Is there anybody who is interested in doing the Health Insurance Consortium?
It was me last year. I'm happy to continue, but if somebody else wants to try it, I'm also cool with that. So if you.
You have the experience.
You can go together. It won't.
Yeah, I mean, you can still go with her if you want to see what it's
Okay.
like, and so we'll make her the delegate and then
Yeah.
you can still go.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's just that we can only do one vote.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And it's
So
two,
did
three
you-
Friday nights.
Yeah, just,
For the year.
yeah, just so you know, it's Friday night.
Friday.
And don't they serve dinner?
Yes.
And it's
And
only 2 or 3, right? Two, just 2.
Typically two,
Yeah.
sometimes three if there's.
Sometimes 3, yeah, if there's an issue.
so did you nominate her?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to be the official vote? Tag along, I can be the official name.
No, you.
No, I specifically heard Michelle nominate you.
I nominate you.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? I would like to propose as the alternate, the entirety of the board.
So moved. Or second. Is that what you need?
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? How about a delegate for the Brim Tioga School Boards Association Legislative Committee?
I'm fine with continuing. But again, if you'd like to come down with me sometime, you're welcome.
Or is there anybody else who has a burning desire to be our delegate?
Probably not.
Did that and done.
I nominate Chris.
Okay,
It does take more than 2 nights a week.
I mean, 2 nights a year.
Yeah, 2 nights a year, yeah.
Well,
Takes usually 1 to 2 meetings a month almost sometimes.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstain? And how about an alternate?
Can I just ask one thing here? I know we usually do the board as an alternate here, but because we are now belong to NISBA and usually the alternate would possibly take care of the voting that has to be done. I'm wondering if we can have an alternate in case we need to identify somebody to do the voting for the board. I don't know. It's up to you guys. The last 3 years I've done all the voting. It's up to you guys. I don't know.
What do you think is best?
I just know it's good to make sure we have somebody that can vote. That's all.
Why would somebody not be able to?
Maybe I couldn't, maybe. I
Oh,
mean,
no, if you can't, then somebody else goes, anybody here. is
you do it
welcome.
online. You actually do it online. Yeah, so that's not so bad. They don't make you go someplace anymore. Just as long as somebody on the board is willing to do it, because it is usually, well, we had one that was 12 hours. The last one was 8.
you shouldn't have said that.
Really sold it.
That should have been at 5 before.
I kind of think that we should continue doing the entirety of the board because that if you are not able to attend, then it gives us more options.
Yeah.
When especially when it's an unplanned.
Okay, that sounds good to me, but if, like, if somebody wants to come to the meetings with me periodically so you can see what's happening, that'd be great.
Okay, so I'll nominate the entirety of the board.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve a voting delegate for the New York State School Boards Association's annual business meeting. May I have a nomination? I believe you've been doing this as well, Chris.
Well, this usually because I'm up there, I end up doing this, but yes, I don't mind doing this either.
Is there anybody else again with a burning desire to?
It's actually quite fun. I clean my house a lot.
What was that?
So you have to listen to all these debates that happen. So I usually have my phone and my buds on and I clean
Oh,
while I'm listening to everything.
gotta multitask.
Yep.
So would somebody like to nominate Chris?
I'll nominate Chris.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstain? How about the alternate?
I nominate the Whitney Point Board.
Second.
Thank you both. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Continuation of participation in the New York State Public Schools Statewide Workers' Compensation Trust and designation of WPCSD representative. Be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District approve the following resolution of school districts relating to the participation in the New York State Public Schools Statewide Workers' Compensation Trust. Whereas the Whitney Point Central School District is a member of the New York State Public Schools Statewide Workers' Compensation Trust, an intermunicipal cooperative activity organized and operated pursuant to section 119-0 of the general municipal law hereinafter the plan. And whereas the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District has determined that it is in the interest of the Whitney Point Central School District to continue to participate in the plan for the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Zachary Woodard, School Business Executive, be and hereby is designated to represent the Whitney Point Central School District in connection with its participation in the plan and to attend and vote in person or by proxy at any meeting of the members of the plan. May I have a motion? Thank you, Molly. And second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Congratulations, Zach.
See how easy it is when we have somebody who's named as the delegate? Okay, authorization for the superintendent to employ temporary, part-time, per diem, or substitute personnel. For the 2025 to 2026 school year.
So moved.
Second, thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Joanne Sexton, Superintendent of Schools, Shannon Kohler, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, or Zachary Woodard, School Business Executive, to approve requests from the professional and non-teaching staff to attend conferences, institutes, or workshops within the budgetary allocations for the 2025 to 2026 school year. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Any abstain?
They should have asked one question. Do they have a set amount in that pocket? Or is it just sort of,
Oh, yeah.
what's the set
No,
amount?
I mean, each building gets an allocation of not that much money.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
knew it wasn't much,
Yeah,
so I was
and
kind of curious.
$1,500, right?
There's, each building has two different lines, 1,500 for like administrative or administrative directive. And then the teaching staff have 15. But again, if there's something they will and that they request it, that's where we kind of figure out where it's coming.
Have we ever hit it all? Like,
Yeah,
do they come? Okay.
Yeah.
That, I was curious. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as you know.
Well, I know
Any
they're
kind of-
expensive
yeah.
and crazy, so that's why I was curious.
That could be
Thank
one
you.
conference for one person.
Right, and sometimes if it's somebody's across buildings, the buildings will chip in. You know, like if it's like our occupational therapist that needs to go to
Mhm.
something.
Yeah. Yep,
A
thank you.
little bit comes from each. Okay. Okay,
But just to say, like, but there's lots of professional learning opportunities that we contract through BOCES for that are not included in that,
Right.
so. It's not like
Yeah.
people aren't learning, it's just they don't get to go to like the lush, expensive.
Well, it's just like with
Yes.
NISBA, we got all those, we got lots of free ones we can go to, and then there's a few that we can pay to go to, yeah.
okay. So we're going to authorize that checks be signed with the facsimile signature or reproduced by a check signer or other machine by the treasurer or the deputy treasurer in the absence of the treasurer, whose signatures may be required during the 2025 to 2026 school year. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second?
Second.
Is that you, Chris?
Mhm.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? The next one says the president, or in their absence, the vice president, is empowered to authorize the issuance of bond anticipation notes, tax anticipation notes, revenue anticipation notes, capital notes, statutory bonds, and budget notes of the school district, and renewals of any and all such notes at such times and under such circumstances as they deem proper and advisable, and to prescribe the terms, form, and contents thereof, to execute the same in the name of and behalf of the school district, and to sell at private sale and deliver the same, and in the full faith and credit of said school district, are hereby pledged to the punctual payment of the principal and interest on all notes issued pursuant hereto by said president, all in pursuance to and consistent with the provisions of the local finance law of the state of New York. May I have a motion?
So moved. I give it 2 seconds, then I go.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments?
Have you ever done that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So anytime we have to do a bond for
I was wondering if that's what.
purchasing the buses or,
Too.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know if this was something separate, okay.
Yeah.
Typically, it's all we do is the ban every year, but 10 years ago, we did do some revenue anticipation notes. And it's really just has to do with cash flow at the timing of our state aid payments, so if we don't get that quite like in time, we may need to go out and borrow that before.
Right, okay.
But of course, the state does not give us the money plus the interest we have to pay on the bond.
Right.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Designation of look-back period for Affordable Care Act, ACA resolution. Whereas the Whitney Point Central School District maintains a group health plan for its employees, health plan, and whereas the Whitney Point Central School District is required to offer coverage under its health plan to eligible full-time employees pursuant to the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, ACA, and whereas the Whitney Point Central School District employs persons for variable hours whose full-time status must be determined pursuant to guidance issued under the ACA. Now therefore be it resolved that the school district hereby is authorized and directed to establish and maintain procedures for the purpose of compliance with the ACA, including but not limited to the following. For variable hour employees, the Whitney Point Central School District shall establish a 12-month standard measurement period beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending the following June 30th, 2026. The initial measurement period for new variable hour employees shall be the 12-month period beginning on the date of hire and ending on the anniversary date thereof. The administrative period following the standard measurement period is the period, beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending August 31st, 2026. The administrative period for new variable hour employees shall be the 30-day period following the anniversary date, and the stability period during which a time of variable hour employee status as eligible or ineligible for health plan coverage is fixed is the period beginning September 1st, 2026 and ending August 31st, 2027. We further resolve that the school district is authorized and directed to take such actions as determined necessary or proper to give effect to this resolution. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom.
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We're going to authorize the superintendent to sign agreements to continue to participate in the school lunch program and hereby authorizes the superintendent, school business executive, and/or the school lunch director to sign any reports as required by governmental agencies for the coming school year. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Was that you, Michelle?
Mhm.
Sorry. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Authorize the central business office and/or the school business executive to correct erroneous tax bills. Whereas there are times the district may issue an erroneous tax bill due to clerical or arithmetic error and holding the correction to the next Board of Education meeting may result in an overpayment by the taxpayer or an underpayment to the district. And whereas the district seeks to the most efficient and I can never pronounce this word. Is it expeditious?
Yes.
Thank you. Means of correcting the tax bill. Now, therefore, be it resolved that upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District delegates authority to the Central Business Office, CBO, and/or Zachary Woodard, School Business Executive, to make corrections up to $2,500 in erroneous property tax bills. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Molly. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments?
I don't think I have a question about that statement, but I am curious. Whatever happened to all that tax that they got all wrong last year?
So the net impact to us was, we basically were out $35,000 of uncollectible tax. But initially it was over $100,000 and I had to file basically additional plans with the STAR unit to have them give us those funds we should have gotten. But the agricultural exemptions and any of the non-STAR related, you basically lose out. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. I've been doing it for 14 years. I've never seen it like that.
Yeah, I looked into that afterwards and I saw the properties that were on that list. I was like, oh, that's what happened. So, yeah.
So who was in error in that? Was it Broome County or did we?
Triangle, wasn't it?
No, I think the assessor
Yep,
or the specific.
yep. It's triangle assessor.
Gotcha.
Everything has changed since then. We all had to fill out new paperwork and everything else.
That's not such a bad thing. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? So we're going to approve that persons appointed to the positions specified below be covered in the identified amounts by the Whitney Point Central School District. All other Whitney Point Central School District employees are covered with a blanket honesty policy at $100,000 per employee. School business executive, 1 million, tax collector, 1 million, internal claims auditor, 1 million, treasurer, 1 million, benefit coordinator, 1 million, treasurers from CBO, 250,000, auditors from CBO, 250,000. May I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
I didn't hear.
I mean,
Aubrey.
Aubrey.
So those, the ones from CBO, those are just at one school or are they shared?
Their shared BOCES actually pays for their coverage. So we're not paying for that, it's just
Okay,
having it be known that they're covered.
they're covered by that much, but we don't cover it. BOCES covers them.
Because they're their employees.
Right, no, and that's what I was thinking. I know a lot of them are multiple districts and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, who gets to cover it?
Yeah.
Good to know.
I know that Chris had asked last year if board members had this as well, and I don't remember if we ever had an answer on that.
So again, board members aren't technically employees, but there's other sections of the school's general liability policy that covers officers.
Okay,
And I have it on my home insurance policy. I did.
I know we had discussed it, but I couldn't
Yeah.
remember
Yes.
what we found
Yeah.
out, so, okay, thank you.
That's fine.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Shall we readopt as a whole for the next school year, all policy previously adopted by the Board of Education? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Tom and Molly?
Yes, please.
I say, no, we want to go through them all tonight and then decide.
How come we didn't have them to review?
Because you can link right to them on the webpage. And actually on Board Docs, if you click on policies, it brings you to the full policy page. But I saw your eyebrows go up, Shannon, if they, yeah. Okay,
Just a little fun.
yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We acknowledge the receipt of the following policies for annual review: 5220 District Investments Policy, 5410 Principles of Purchasing Procurement Policy, 7310.1 School Conduct and Discipline. School lunch pricing. Due to the participation in the community eligibility provision, breakfast and lunch are free for all students. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Aubrey?
Yep.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Sorry, my ears are a little plugged tonight, so I can't even,
Was talking.
well, but I can't even tell what direction it's coming from. Any questions or comments on this one?
So what happens with federal monies that then trickle down if that change is going through? And I know there's other things in here as well. How does that?
Yeah, I mean, again, based off the current structure, that's how it's working. Obviously, if something were to change, we'd have to go back and look at it.
But we wouldn't be the only person and it would be
No, I
across
mean,
the state and all kinds
The
of people.
governor's initiative was to really push free meals
Right.
for everyone, but again, that's accomplished with, again, partially federal funding.
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I know anything that's not free, it's always
Yeah.
one of our taxes that comes back to us.
So, and I mean, during the
Yeah,
COVID
yeah.
thing, like that
Yep.
was big initiative, and then once you give it to someone, how do you take it back? It's a tough one.
Right, but I mean, it's just more, it's more. tenuous right now, starting from above of what's gonna trickle down, so.
Yeah.
It just, that's what I figured,
Yeah, right now, meals are all free and I think that would be our goal to
Yep.
continue that however we can.
thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Tuition for non-resident students, 0 for grades K through 6, $3,073 for grades 7 through 12. May I have a motion.
So,
Thank you, Aubrey. And a second.
second.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions or comments?
Quick question. I know that our teachers get to come here. Do they have to pay this? Okay,
No, that's the amount we waive.
that's amount we waive. Okay.
And again, we don't set these rates, I mean, we're
Yep.
approving it, but this is a rate given to us by the state. It
Yep, it only cost us no money to
costs no money to educate.
educate a child. Kindergarten through 6th grade.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Mileage reimbursement rate, we use the regulations of the Internal Revenue Service. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second,
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments?
What is that rate, Zach?
70 cents a mile.
Yeah, it's gone up quite a bit.
That's a lot.
it was behind and then the gas prices jumped and then
Oh,
lagged
yeah.
and then they came back down, but it stayed up a little.
It's the cost of a stamp now. They're kind of going up, together.
I wonder if they're connected somehow.
I have to drive my vehicle to everything, so.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We're going to approve the listed job titles, requiring district-owned cellular phones. It is included in a service purchased from BOCES. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second,
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments?
Our security officers, I know that they're not on this list, but I'm assuming they have cell phones too.
They're not our employees. They get it.
That's
from-
right.
They county provides.
The county.
Yeah, they have work-related ones for the county.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We approve the following credit cards for and we need to make a correction here. For the 25-26 school year.
Oh, yeah.
Wegmans, $500, Wex Bank, which is Speedway, 17,200, Sam's Club, 11,500, and Elon Financial Services, which is MBT Bank, 5,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Speedway, isn't that the other gas station? It's not the one down here in the corner, right?
Speedway's on it.
Speedway's on the corner?
Yeah.
For some reason I can't keep every
Yeah.
time they change their names. Okay. Okay.
But what did that use? It covered a couple of gas stations, honestly, but. we did
And-
it for Wex.
We haven't thought about using Vernon Dairy's place either yet, or not?
It's more of a convenience of just it being right there on the corner.
Okay.
Especially now with British.
Yeah.
Well, I know they have the back gas
Right.
pumps in the back of the Vernon
Yeah,
Dairy.
one thing we're looking into down the.
Didn't know if they'd save us any money or anything like that.
I mean, yeah, I think we're okay where we're at now, but something we're looking at down the road.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, I know a lot of the bus drivers
They go there. I
They're-
see them bus there all the time.
between the route,
Yeah.
between the routes when they don't have students.
They'll look for free coffee.
I can totally get that. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, we need to call into order the district-wide safety plan hearing at 6:41 PM. So who's taking the lead on the presentation of the?
I think you guys all got a copy of this, or it's on your screens, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do, again, I'll give you a little bit of background and then we'll walk through it. There's not too much going on this year. This is a required hearing we're supposed to have every year to review the safety plan. The safety plan is listed, on the school website, obviously because it's a public, available document. Anything that's, considered confidential, obviously is not listed in this document, each building has a plan. So this is more of a generic plan. That said, this is the start of the hearing. I go through the changes we're having for the current draft. It opens up a 30-day comment period, which there'll be a link on the website. If anyone has any changes, they can submit them. Typically, we don't have much. And then at the next board meeting in August, we'll approve it for the upcoming school year. So this is the plan. If you just take the very last page of it, or you scroll to it, we actually have to list out, again, every single change for the plan. So we are now on revision 22. I've been doing this for 22 years. And you can see what we changed from the previous plan to what we're proposing to. Most of these are really grammatical changes. It can be by, updating names, positions, things like that. Again, I'll go through it in a little more detail. And then again, sometimes the state dictates certain things that have to flow into this plan. So this current year, the biggest change is actually the extreme heat conditions, which ironically we have later on for policy discussion. So again, let me go through it. Follow along or whatever. Page 4, again, we add safety coordinator to the school incident command section, again, and just reviewing it. There's a lot of like, what if this person's unavailable, who's a fall to, who's a fall to, who's a fall to, and our actual wonderful safety officer coordinator was not listed. But that's Carrie Godley, she does an amazing job at it. So, and again, if there's an incident, she's normally right involved with their whatever's going on, so her to that. Another one on page 4, just changing the appendix number, grammatical, skip over that. Page 9, again, really grammatical, had to do with the Carly Adams, just the address wasn't specifically listed. And for whatever reason, and 21 other times, we had the TRA listed as grades 3 through 8, 4 through 8. So we finally found that one, so we're gonna update it. Page 14. Again, grammatical, just changing the appendix number to be consistent with all the other changes. Oh, and the next one. Page 15, we had specifically this P3 tip line. And we're moving to a different form of tip line, so really just removing the P3 aspect of it and removing the website link. We still have a tip line, but again, just updating the document to reflect that. And then again, the bigger change for this meeting, it starts on page 19. And you can see we are adding extreme heat conditions to the list of circumstances for early dismissal. Again, we hope to never have to do that, but sometimes we have had early release days affected. So that. Page 20, again, some grammatical things just to be consistent with the other changes. And then again, for the actual requirement of the maximum temperature in school buildings, the additions to the plan, that's on page 24. Again, I'd like to take credit that I created all this language myself, but it came from the state. So I'll read it. This is basically the big change in this year's plan. Maximum temperature in school buildings as part of chapter 596 of the law. This law defines extreme heat condition day as a day when the occupiable educational and support services spaces are 82 degrees or higher, as measured 3 feet from the floor in a shaded area near the center of the room. To get very specific, clearly. When an extreme heat condition day occurs, districts and BOCES will be required to take action to relieve heat-related discomfort. Of course, we always would take those steps. These actions may include, but are not limited to, turning off the overhead lights, pulling down shades or blinds, turning on fans, opening classroom doors and windows to increase circulation, and turning off unused electronics that produce heat and providing water breaks. On top of that, I mean, this is part of the plan. We have a policy coming up on it. It's also in our building condition survey that we're doing with the architects. We paid extra for them to do an air conditioning study for us, and this is really kind of the trend other districts in our area are doing. They're including this in capital projects, really trying to increase that air conditioning, which again, in the past, we tried not to do just because of the energy aspect of it. But now again, with this new law, that's what we're looking at. So again, that's the big addition to the plan. Again, page 24, that's the state and the specific guidance that we will be following. Again, just wrapping this up, page 33 was grammatical. We had to keep updating the CDC website. We're just removing it in general. Again, we know this was kind of a carryover from COVID. If we have to add anything like that similar in the future, we will. Page 37, again, it's updating the names of the new appointees to various positions. The supervisor,
Last one's very sad.
yes, thank you, Joanne's getting ahead of me. Page 39, again, we just notified again, we are losing one of our great SROs to another school district closer to his home. We will begin
Officer Brad.
that search when we can. Fortunately, there's not really a pool to interview, so again, it's something we will focus on in the summer because.
Dave's gonna be very upset about this.
The whole school's. I'm gonna say a lot of people.
So obviously, we know that during the interview, I'm sure.
He was amazing.
Make sure we
Yeah.
can find a good fit for the building.
So maybe you need to once again talk to our other SROs so they can talk to their friends and
Yeah,
they think
and-
they get a fit.
They do, and they are, except that, you may know that the service has now left the DA's office and is out in the sheriff's department
Mhm.
and, a little different already. And they will let us know, they've told us, they actually have a couple of openings, so they will let us know when they find somebody. We're still gonna try and backdoor a little bit, to try and hope we can find somebody good, but, it's different. Part of, yeah. So we're gonna have to be on top of it to make sure we have somebody that's we've been it has worked out so well with the perfect people, for each building,
We've been lucky.
yeah.
We've had excellent people in all our positions. I know some schools, they don't have good fits.
Right.
It happens quite a bit, so we've been very fortunate. Hopefully, we will going forward.
So just to wrap this up again, that's really the last proposed change to the safety plan. Assuming there's no other conversation on it, again, we will open this up for the 30-day period tomorrow. Assuming we don't hear anything, you'll see this on the next agenda, basically with these bullet point changes to the plan for approval.
So I guess that's something I could bring up. So the legislative stuff, is that something that could go through the legislature, the committees? But I'm sure all the schools are dealing with it, and that's our local. I mean, if it's something through the county.
The legislature just actually they did have, some voice and they did approve the shift, to be under the sheriff's department. And the sheriff's department has, right from the get-go, met with superintendents and, I in particular have said that it's very critical to us that we don't just get a service or a rotating person, that it's gotta be the right fit for the particular building. And they've said they've heard that. It's just, this is now a law enforcement agency, which is just a different deal. So we're gonna be very vocal about that moving forward. We can just tell that it's just a different situation.
Oh, no, and I
And
know
we can
that.
bring it
know
up
that
to
a
our
lot of
first
times,
president's meeting, we can bring it up.
The county does things.
Yeah.
And then they should, sometimes it's done without any input prior.
Yeah, well, we just won't let that happen because like I said,
Yeah.
it is about the person,
Right.
not just about
Yeah.
having security.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah. It's actually the moment.
Yeah. And if you need anything from the board,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we all have anecdotes on how well it's working and why it's working. It's working because of the people, not because.
Mhm. Definitely.
He will be
Rest of the situation.
Okay. With all that, we can adjourn the district-wide safety plan hearing at 6:51.
Do we?
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Do we have the need of an executive session?
Just briefly.
Okay, so an executive session at 6:52 to hear discussion on,
Individual contracts and with individual personnel issues.
Stacy mentioned she, that's it here, it's quicker. easier. So stuff.
yeah, we just have to
Turn the
make sure. we-
camera off.
Yeah. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'm sorry, who's me? Thank you. I'm second. Thank you, Aubrey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay.
Did we get, the typical letter from them announcing that their upcoming audit, is about to take place over summer, and they'll reach out to a few of the board members for inquiries. We didn't get that yet, which is a little odd, because normally it doesn't go on this meeting. I reached out to them, but their offices were closed this week, so I didn't get a response, but once we get that letter, I'll have Stacy email it out to you guys. It basically just announces again that we're doing our annual external audit, and again, they may contact you with general inquiries of, giving suspicions of fraud.
And when you get that email, if you have a question for any of us, let us know.
Yeah.
First time I got it, I was like, Joanne and Zach, is this real?
Oh, yeah, it's real. And it's really easy. You don't have to go into like
Anything.
tons of detail. They're gonna have what? 5, 6 questions.
Mhm.
Do you know of any fraud? Have you suspected any fraud?
I would say, not to my knowledge.
Are there things that
An escape route,
make you
not
think
to
that
my
there
knowledge.
could be a potential? So, okay, policy discussion on maximum temperature for school buildings and indoor facilities. Oh, sorry, no, I'm
if
sorry,
you're
just
reading-
policy. But we have policy discussion before that. I combined the two, so, sorry.
There's nothing there, right?
No, so we don't have anything to discuss. We just,
Yep.
we have something to add, but we'll discuss the fact that we
First
had
reading.
some. We had some policies that need to come for second reading, but we didn't have 30 days in between the two
Okay.
meetings, so it'll have to wait
Yeah.
until our next meeting.
Okay. So we will be going to maximum
Yes.
temperature.
The second reading ones, Joanne, do we still have a tentative board meeting? At the end of July?
We don't, I may ask you to, for hiring reasons,
Oh, okay,
but we don't have a date. I mean, maybe that's, but at the end of this, that we would have, it's not on an official meeting
Right.
schedule, but we can always call a meeting.
okay.
It's hard for me to know
Unless
when we're gonna get all the hiring
Yep.
done, but people don't like to resign until they're appointed,
Right,
so,
Which makes perfect sense.
yeah.
and we might be getting one, right? Yep.
And before we go any further, I just wanted to note that when I opened up the next one, cell phones and other electronic devices, the tab from Board Docs says sexual harassment.
Yeah, it does. I clicked on that. and I'm
Mine doesn't.
Up in the tab.
No, when you
up at
when you
the
actually
top,
open up the policy on the bottom, the PDF.
Oh, when you open the PDF.
Cause it, yeah,
Oh, yeah, it does.
I like went to close it, I'm like, sexual harassment, where did
Yeah.
that come from?
I don't know.
It's a digital tag that's coming up on you.
Yeah, so
Um,
if you,
You're not in the board. Here, I'll show you, Steph.
And
or
we should
Stace.
approve those two.
It's gonna be a digital tag.
Huh?
Later the files.
The digital tag.
Oh, it's probably in the property. that you
It's in the
probably documents,
properties.
You have to go to the.
Yeah, and
properties and
copy the
documents.
document, yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't matter for us looking through Board Docs, but just so that we don't.
I think that one would be public, so. That doc is,
So
yeah.
like, I'm looking at the public one right now, so.
Click on it.
Click on it.
Yeah,
It pulls to PDF.
so that one does say cell phones, but ours says right here,
yeah,
right there, it says sexual harassment.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So it's cell phone.
Yeah.
But just so you know, it doesn't, when it becomes official and everything, it doesn't carry through with that. Yes.
Okay, so maximum temperature for school buildings and indoor facilities, we discussed this the last meeting. Zach just went over what was in our safety plan, which is pretty much the same language, which is what the law says, and that's what this also says. And it outlines the fact that we will take mitigation measures as, you know, really before we get to 82 degrees. You have a question, Tom?
Yeah, I did. So this is for the summer as well, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's what I'm just,
We have air conditioning units, that portable units that we use for summer program. Yeah,
oh, okay.
and so this last week when it was so hot, the CEA. They have, the problem is if it gets like 95 degrees, those units really just can't handle it. But if it's in the high 80s, those portable units, you know, with the combination of that and keeping the lights off and the shades drawn,
Okay.
usually you can keep things pretty cool. Those units also do not work in the second floor of the TRA. It can't, I mean, it just gets so hot up there. So we have some of those, and what we did on those hot days is the CEA was in pretty good shape. And the TRA relocated to the auditorium and the third floor. Yes, there's nothing else that we can really do.
But have you
We're gonna-
measured the temperature in the middle of the floor 3 feet above?
In a
I'd
shaded
like to
area.
know, in the, as long as it's in the shade.
Oh, my husband says me about that. It's not funny. Our thermometer sits in a very specific spot.
Yeah, and we do have the ability for each room, we monitor it and the maintenance supervisor can look at it remotely. So again, if we are kind of getting on that verge, even the last week before school went out. He came in like the night before and he made a lot of like tweaks to the system to bring in more cool air overnight. The problem was, it was still like 75 degrees at
Yeah,
night.
yeah,
so
that
well,
was
people are-
fluke. Yeah,
Well, I know with that though, I understand why it's said like that because, oh, if you put it down here in this corner and you do it at 7 in the morning, we're good.
Yeah.
Right.
do it by
I mean,
Yeah.
places are gonna,
Yeah.
they'll make it work and it
Yeah.
can't be asked to be standardized, so I
Right.
get it.
Yeah, no, and I do. It's just, it is one of those.
But
It sounds funny, but it's perfectly reasonable.
But if you measure there, you know what it is and the difference on the wall, so you don't have to come into every room if you kind of have an idea.
Yeah,
You have, oh, it says 88 here, but it'll read that over there and we'll know that that's one, or 82, you'll know that whatever the reading is in that room where you have to measure would be incorrect.
And that measure, I mean, so if it's 82 degrees in that spot, then up higher.
Oh, yeah,
it
it's-
is.
Yeah,
So, and this is just our reality. These are the new norms. I mean, now once this went through, then it's like, I can't ignore it, even though it says we're practicable and it, you know, it doesn't say you have to close. But just putting this into law means that that's the expectation, that we're not gonna have kids. You may have also seen that there was a bunch on Facebook about the buses. People
Yeah.
saying how hot, and the buses are hot,
Yeah,
and some of our kids are on the bus for an hour.
yeah, I saw that. That day I was so aware, I'm like, every bus driver better go in the back of their bus and look in every seat. Which I know they do, but I was in, my head was like, cause kids fall asleep when it's hot like that, and I was like, oh, and yeah, I was like, I had a little bit of palpitation going on.
like a double check.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We looked into air conditioning previously for buses, it adds about 12,000 to the cost. We don't have any air conditioned buses.
and
are
I
there,
know some of them don't like to open windows and I mean,
Yeah, most of them.
who doesn't like to open windows?
well, no, I mean, some
fans?
students don't like windows
Oh.
open, some of the drivers won't like the windows open.
There's a
they
hatch on
opened the
top.
hatch,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what they did when we came home from NISBA, when our bus had no air conditioning and it was 90 degrees outside.
Mhm.
It was quite interesting. Whoops.
My car's like that.
That's how I grew up, so it was a get tougher
Yeah.
guy, but I'm from Missouri, so I. I feel sorry for them, but we never had air conditioning.
no, I know that
It's tough.
they can monitor the temperature in the rooms. Can they set like alarms if?
We've asked well, you wanna speak out, I asked Scott to ask the company and they.
Yeah, so I mean, air temp is really our automated controls.
Mhm.
So we've had a conversation with them to have like, kind of like a one button set for when we know temperatures are gonna be bad, to like optimal, like tempers and all the things they can do to really make a room. Better, but right now, each room has a wall unit and it's 2 degrees, they can go down or up. Set like that, cause again, it does impact the energy
Efficient.
cost.
But I mean, like, can it, if a room is starting to get warm, can an alert go to
Yep.
like Scott or somebody to say that, hey, this room is,
Yep, so right now, again, the system is set up to where it's color coded, so.
okay,
Kind of get like the warning color and then you get the danger color. There's not an actual alert, just right now, he's been monitoring it on those
Okay.
days, but that's the other question we asked our company. Could it be like a automated text or email?
mhm. I was just, that was something that popped into my head that, you know, because it's not like he can sit at his desk all day monitoring, you know, but I was just, you know, if there could be a text or something that might be helpful.
He was monitoring quite a bit.
No, I
Very
know.
tired.
Yeah,
That's
Well, but I'm glad that this is there. I know it's hard, but this is something that should be.
it's like, I know our district is going to pay attention to this regardless of
Yeah.
whether it's part of the law or not, but I know that there are other districts that wouldn't be as careful.
Just makes you more aware of what across the board, what's considered to be okay and not okay.
Is this the final? This isn't second
First
reading.
reading.
This-
First reading.
Just the underline on the second page, Stacy, implementation plan. Just if that could be taken off. And if the emergency school closing is a hyperlink to that, then that's fine, but I didn't know if that's why that's underlined. And I discovered something new. I didn't know why Fahrenheit was capitalized. But now I know.
You didn't realize that?
I didn't know why.
Okay. And I just realized we never
Belongs
did
to
a,
Personal man who made it.
cool. I didn't realize that we didn't do a motion or a second on this. And
Start the conversation over.
no, if we could do that now, I'm not saying we need to end the conversation. I'm just, while I remember, let's do a motion and a second for that.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First,
thank you. Second,
Tom, oh, I thought.
did some, okay, all right, okay. Too much giggling going on. Okay,
I wish I had too much coffee.
so we can continue the conversation. I wanted to make sure we had the motion. and the
Anything
second.
else? All I know is the teacher said that they were happy with what you did and what your plans were, Joanne. That's what I heard from the community. So thank you for what you did. And yeah, the buses did get a little bit of yik yak, but you know what? That is what it is. So, but thank you for everything that you guys did to make sure that we didn't have to cancel school.
See Scott, thanks Scott too. He was working hard.
no, if you can pass that on, I know it's a lot of people and it's a lot of stuff, especially when they take it seriously and try to really, that's fantastic.
It's nice that we have a district that actually pays attention to things and cares and keeps on top of them, and it's much appreciated.
But as Zach said, you're gonna hear more about this and we're gonna have to have some long range plans.
Mhm.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but that's part of the evaluation of the building, so.
I know there was some discussion in the past. I mean, I was like, the other end in the summer, or in the winter, and I go into schools and I just like will.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, well, it has to be this amount, a minimum, there's a minimum number and you can't be close to that, because if it goes below, I don't know.
And selfishly, if it gets fixed before my kids hit middle school and they don't have to suffer like we did, fantastic for them.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that, that's like to save money, like make ice cubes on my counter in the winter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. the
Just
opposite.
wearing sweaters and stuff, like, oh my gosh, they're going to school with shorts. I just know that the winter was
Yeah.
already looked at and there's
Yeah.
a minimum, now we're looking at in
Yeah.
our area that there's an upper
Yeah.
side, so it just.
Are we ready to vote on this one, or do we have more discussion, which is fine? Okay, all those in favor?
Bye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, next one up is cell phones and other electronic devices. May I have a motion? Molly?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay,
So we discussed this last time, that there were changes, there was some question at our last meeting, do you remember about? Playgrounds and the fields, but it's only during the instructional day. Which has really already been our rule, it's
Right.
just that we had to include this language because now there's a law in New York.
Yep.
mhm. Yep. I do like that. You also put in there how legal guardians may contact their student.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yep.
Anything
Okay.
else?
Simple for us. We were already doing it.
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, do not believe we have any policies for second reading. We do not have anybody here to participate in comments from the public. So that brings us to commendations.
This is Monaco High School Administration, faculty, staff, class of 2025, parents and community for a successful high school and you guys. For a successful high school graduation ceremony held on June 27th, 2025. We want to commend everybody, faculty and staff, every single person in our school community for a successful year. All sorts of things happened all year, and graduation is always just a super nice way to see the fruits of your efforts, you know, I mean, it's just wonderful to see each of them have their own story and have had their own journey, and to see them graduate like that is just wonderful.
One of the things that Chris and I commented on during graduation is that we need to find a way to encourage other faculty members to start attending graduation, because I know that the kids who saw the faculty that were there really appreciated it.
There were a number of faculty in the audience too. I don't know.
Well, I know, but I mean,
But
it's
so
just,
afterwards, there was a lot of like hugging and crying and all
Yeah.
carrying on. It was, but yeah.
but even if we just had, if they don't want to process, if they don't want to have the rows, if we can have a faculty section, it just.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that afterwards the kids all saw them and everything, but I just think it's also impactful for them when, you know.
If they don't, if they're not part of the procession though, then they take seats.
Yeah,
So,
that's the only
because
problem.
I would also say. My preference would be not just faculty.
And I meant staff.
Everybody, yeah.
I agree too,
Yeah.
and because there's bus drivers.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe maybe when it's outside, we can do better because we have more space, I don't know, but. I agree, I mean, even at the college, we have those who formally process. And then we have those who are not in regalia, who come right behind them and also sit in that same area.
Yeah.
Just so, I don't know, maybe
Yeah, so we-
there's reasons they don't want
Ways
to,
do
but.
that, yeah.
I just think for families like, oh, we have all these teachers and there's only 5 teachers sitting there. Some family will think that, some family will, not everybody, but yeah, just something maybe.
But
we
I
could do.
also, I think the kids see it too, and it's important to them to see that, you know, these people came to support you guys graduating. Because when they're looking out at the audience, it's, you know, they see their families. They don't see all the faculty and staff who are out there who come to graduation every year, and if that makes sense. So maybe we can do something to make it more.
And I agree, staff, bus drivers, anybody who
And
wants,
yeah.
yeah.
I always think it's better that the people that really want to be there are there. And if it's a small amount, I'd rather have people that were there because they wanted to. Just to try to add it.
No, I don't want to just try to add it, but.
No, I-
a better opportunity
Yeah, an
to be
opportunity
there.
for more of them.
Yeah.
Right,
no.
but I mean, it just, and I do commend them, it did look like a little smaller than it's been some in the past, but I mean, we have turnover, people have things going on, and,
Yeah.
but I just. Plus in the gym, And I know it was mentioned that this was a smaller class, but other years it's been hard to get, family in there. So. Yeah,
So maybe
just
just
to think about
outside,
it.
then it would be an option.
I definitely know that some people don't feel comfortable with the whole regalia thing.
Right. And-
So, but we maybe like,
Right.
that's why I think that maybe we can do something else and we can create like a section. And maybe we can even like have some kind of gathering, like we can
Yeah.
have some.
Yeah.
Because it also, it's not intentional, but it would be kind of demeaning with people without degrees coming in without, you stand out. And there should be no reason to stand out, either plus or minus, and I know that that could be concerning as well. Especially for.
But there's, it seems like we can come up with a way that
Yeah.
shows the students how important they are to everybody and make everybody comfortable. That was, you know.
Don't wear their costumes, they just wear their costumes, I call costumes.
Yeah.
They just wear their
So,
clothes.
can I just mention something else that's completely different, but I made note of that, and I think that, you know, we can definitely think about ideas. Where we can have more people there. I just wanted to mention something that I have not mentioned at a meeting. You know, that we had this, a terrible loss right before graduation.
Yes.
And you may not know, but, area districts, sent us counselors, social workers, you know, to come in because obviously it's, you know, very difficult for our staff is devastated, you know, so.
Yeah.
That is a huge thing. I just want to let you know specifically Shenango Valley, Susquehanna Valley, UE and Vestal, all sent people. And then in addition to that, like for the couple of weeks, like I think for 3 weeks afterwards, other school districts were sending food and just kind of, you know, all sorts of things to say, you know, we're with you. Many of those, unfortunately, those schools have experienced similar things. And I'm just gonna tell you, like, I mean, and we don't, I mean, like, not even necessarily in our BOCES, like some of them, but just a few that really sent quite a bit, like Cincinnatus, McGraw, Newark Valley, Harpersville, Susquehanna Valley, Shenango Forks. I mean, and other people did other things too. I just, you know, again, there's, you know, no words to even describe how horrible the whole thing is, but it somehow was comforting to know that you know,
You're not alone.
you're not
Yeah.
alone. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I received some personal notes from other board
Mhm.
presidents.
Yeah.
Contacted me and
I
it was
did as
very
well.
good. Yep.
I think the first one was Sandra Rufo.
Yes, she's, yeah.
And yeah, email is all, yeah.
Yep.
The way that it was done during the graduation, I thought was very respectful too, so that's nice. I'm
Yeah.
glad that that is done. Glad that the family could at least do that they wanted to and did that. That was nice.
Yep. I agree. I think that it was a lovely representation and it was good. And I'm gonna cry again, so. Hey, old business, believe it or not, we have none. Brings us to our second consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstain? Rebecca Pratt, Cook Manager, effective July 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
so
Thank you, Tom. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Allison Doyle, 4-year probationary appointment as assistant principal in the assistant principal tenure area, effective August 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ryan Atkinson, 4-year probationary appointment as social studies teacher in the social studies teacher tenure area, effective September 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Molly. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Field trip requests. The FFA would like to go to the FFA National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana, October 28th through November 2nd, 2025. May I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Molly.
Good for them to put that in early.
They're
Yeah.
putting it in early to put it on your radar. They're working on fundraising for this. So it's just kind of like, they're hoping to be able to do this.
Okay.
I like their enthusiasm.
I do.
I really do. I just, as long as they have some oversight on what can be done and how they can do some of the fundraisers, so they don't have any fire.
And they might want to, somebody might want to suggest to them that they could also approach the Eagle's Nest if they need assistance in fundraising. Because that might be a possibility.
I like it. Just read it and I get that enthusiasm. I get a smile when I read
Yeah.
it. It's just like, I just love that.
And I know some of the,
Sure that-
Yeah.
I know some of the kids who are involved, and it's just like when they talk about it, their whole body, everything, voice, face, everything lights up.
So I went to the FFA, like,
The thing that
In
they had.
Syracuse?
Yeah. Mhm.
well, you know how you always find out, like, there's like a whole universe of things that you don't really.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like, and there were.
It's like all over the like FCLA.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I just thought,
It's like when you go to Comic
they're
Con.
dancing and they're like, there's all sorts of rituals and all
Uh-huh.
sorts of everything.
Well, they have
And-
Cow posters and tractors and excited and
Like being Girl Scouts, you know?
good stuff.
Yep, so it's nice to see.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained?
Thousands of people doing the Macarena, kids, and these. I'm still doing this.
Do you remember the Macarena was like really popular when you guys were in school?
Clearly, it's still a thing.
You gotta make the most of it when there's other people around you that down off the farm.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotta do it.
there's a lot of people. You gotta go.
Yep.
That wasn't a put down, that's a positive. And
Oh, yes. Whitney Point JV and varsity field hockey to National High School Invitational in Conshohocken, PA, September 12th to 21st. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom, and a second. Second. Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Student Success Summer Programming, July 28th, July 29th, and July 30th and 31st, going to different places. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Molly and Chris. Any questions or comments?
So this is the grant funded project and they're just gonna be on the move this week. So they just put it in as a series of little field trips.
Okay.
And it just how it was listed, it was a little hard to tell, but then when I read it, I was like, oh, okay, I understand what they're saying. It's like,
Beyond the
Yeah.
Move Week.
well, when I say community, what? Oh, really like here.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We have the fall coaching recommendations as listed. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Michelle.
I had one question. I noticed that Carrie Totondo is gonna be varsity modified. Does that mean we're gonna try to, if we do have modified players, if they're eligible, go with the varsity? Or are they gonna go still separate? Are they separate teams and she's getting,
Well, it depends how many.
how many? Okay, okay, I know the numbers are kind of low
We'll
at times,
see.
so, okay.
But you never know, with a new
Okay.
pool, there might,
I hope
sparked some
so.
interest.
I hope.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if we do get a few numbers, that we also are being fair to her and giving her compensation that would be coaching 2 teams, that's all. But I don't think the numbers will get that big, but I'm just.
Right.
I
I mean,
can-
there's.
I can keep
there's language
pushing.
About the numbers and yeah, I mean, it would be great if it did, but.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Bye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so this is the bond resolution for $814,176 in serial bonds to finance the purchase of school buses. The resolution is entitled Bond Resolution of the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District, Broome, Shenango, Cortland, and Tioga Counties, New York. The district authorizing the issuance of $814,176 in serial bonds of the district to finance the purchase of school buses. The amount of debt obligations authorized, $814,176. Objects or purposes for which the obligations to be issued to purchase 4 new 71 passenger diesel buses. Period of probable usefulness, 5 years. That means the bonds are 5 years, correct? Okay. Resolution summarized herein shall be available for public inspection during normal business hours at the offices of the district clerk of the Whitney Point Central School District, 10 Kybel Road, Whitney Point, New York, 13862. May I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? The actual paperwork is much longer, I can tell you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
So this is 10 and CEA is 20.
Yep.
Huh.
Plus garage is 30.
Weird. Sorry.
It has to do, doesn't it have something to do with like feet of road and,
Oh, I have no idea. No, I can get back to the bills for the building.
no, I know, but I do believe that that's how they,
Size and
It's
then
lot.
yeah,
the add, then they know what the numbers go in, they're supposedly marked out, so.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
319, and I think it was 333.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, so not that far, yeah.
I think they just make this. I think those rules.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
They get out their Yahtzee dice
Yeah.
What do we got?
and whatever the total is, your street number. Okay. We have 2 transportation bids, one for bus maintenance with New York Bus Sales and one for transportation A&D busing services. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments?
Is the A&D, is the transportation student, did it go up at all? Zach?
Yeah, so these are extensions, so we don't have to rebid it if they're willing to accept, the state tells us a CPI inflation factor, which is 3.4%. With this contract are up 3.4.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I just a comment about, the maintenance, I know when that switched over a long time ago, and it's good to see that that's still working out for everybody, and it's nice that that's there and it's still working, so. That's great.
Oh, I think it was either this one or the next one that had a contract date ending incorrectly. But I don't have it
They
open.
go off the original bid, so it could have been bid in 2023, 24, and it's like the extension second year.
Right, but there was one that, I don't know, I'll have to look at it and I'll ask you about it later because it was,
But pretty much all these were previously bid, for all the extensions, so they don't have to be bid back out.
yeah, no, it was just, I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
Any other questions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Bid extensions, for garbage and recycling, it's extension number 2 for Taylor Garbage. Plumbing, extension number 1 with Lewis and Pachano and Son Incorporated. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. You know, I have to give her credit because she's probably the first day board member who has spoken up. Well, like Tom said, it was like 5 months before he did a motion.
I think I seconded the closing of my first one, and that was it.
I actually did several seconds my first one too.
So, thank you. Any questions or comments on these 2 extensions? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain?
Did ask 5 million questions for 5 minutes.
And that's okay.
Question.
We have a professional services agreement with Ashley McGraw Architects. It's a building condition survey and 5-year plan at a cost not to exceed $91,513.80. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. I like the 80 cents thrown in there.
Everybody.
Do you have anything you wanna?
Yeah, so kind of briefly been talking about this over the last couple of meetings. Went to the attorney to make sure everything was appropriate. 35 years, the state requires school districts to do this. They do reimburse us back, and the way the reimbursement works is really, you can get so much work done. And it's a reimbursement rate of like a cents per square foot. So we do get all of this back, and that's kind of the basis for how detailed these reports can be. Obviously, with the architect, you're buying their time, right? So they're gonna spend that amount of time researching our facilities, preparing these reports. And again, this is really the basis for like a future capital project of identifying crucial infrastructure needs. There's meetings we've had for kickoffs, and they're gonna do some work over summer, but I would expect to see most of this work done probably by spring. But we'll make sure to have maybe a presentation by them at some point along the way, so you guys.
So we do this every 5 years, is that
Yep.
what you said?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was looking through this and I know that we just finished, so how, if you haven't had a capital project in forever, I think it would be more impactful, but isn't a lot of this, wasn't this done site work and some things like that? And when they're working, do they have some of this already?
Yeah, so interesting, right? So we just finished up our capital project. It was a 2021 capital project vote. A lot of that work was based off of the 2015 and it rolls into the 2020 5-year plan. So now that's kind of where we start is what were items identified in those previous plans that haven't been touched in the projects. And then again, as we know, we're paying additional now for air conditioning study, because now that's a priority, like things elevate over time and that's kind of where their focuses go. And programming, like, we had 10 years ago, we weren't really talking about steam. So when we're
Right.
meeting now with like Shannon and Joanne, and we're talking about a steam. So
Early 4th of July.
like, what can we do steam related to CEA or the courtyard or the TRA cafeteria? And that was a big project item that dropped. That's what's gonna be kind of in the plan of listing out items, but then you kind of set a priority level, right? What should be done versus wish list kind of things, and that's again really the basis for our next capital.
So they're not looking at structural, I thought they were looking
They
at
are.
like, oh, okay, well, that's what I was saying though, that structurally, if they've been here. And they did all this and they were working on buildings, a lot of structural things were looked at and improved and actually being looked at.
But just like if you like in your house,
Yeah.
it's like, what's the priority for this last project? What are the things we have to take care of?
Right.
But we know down the road, like the brickwork, is always.
Oh, no, I know
Yeah,
that, but I'm just saying
so-
that if this is, it's not like. We haven't had anything worked on
Oh,
in the
no.
last 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it was looked at 5 years ago, there was a plan, what we want to do, but they were physically looking at buildings and structures and. So, I mean, that part of that shouldn't be as in depth, I would think, because they were looking at a lot of that part of it.
Yeah.
So
Well, their fees are outrageous. I mean, it's just the cost of architectural service.
I definitely went into the wrong field and
Yeah.
I was just looking at some of these pays per hour. I'm like,
Well, I know one thing, don't know why this happened, but it looks like when whoever saved the PDF, they saved all the track change lines.
That must have just been how it got printed out, I thought.
I mean, I don't, at first I was like, is this a cool pattern they
Again,
put on their side?
I had the attorneys look at them. It's like,
And then I was like, wait a minute, this is a change wherever there was like an address change or this was purposely deleted, stuff like that.
yeah.
So it's just something that catches my eye.
That-
Yeah, no, it is. I can see all your track changes.
Yeah.
Made it easier for me to read, Zach.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Memorandum of agreement, between the Board of Education and the Chief Executive Officer dated July 1st, 2025. May I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments?
Thank you.
Well deserved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you. Between the Chief Executive Officer and the School Business Executive dated July 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
second,
Thank you, Tom. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Superintendent's updates.
Well, we've got work to do. We have to figure out a process this year for picking a student member. I then will take the lead once we have our student members to do some onboarding with them. We have a retreat date. I think we need to decide whether we want student members to be part of our retreat. And then have some conversation about what you'd like me to prepare for the retreat. We've had a few suggestions. I do think, and we actually talked about this last year, but we don't do as many presentations. I mean, those of you who've been around for a while, I mean, it seems like I used to do a ton all the time, just on educational issues and initiatives and topics, and maybe that's some of the stuff that we want to talk about in retreat, so that, lingo and what's happening in the bigger picture in the state and the federal government makes more sense, or do we want to do something different? And then there's the goals.
Yeah, so I had a suggestion I shared with Joanne. Our school is a PLC school, and I know that's a lot of lingo, but I would love, I mean, I know what it is, I know how it functions, but I would love to have more information about a PLC, how it works, how they are looking at the data all the time that's then brought to us in a more concise manner. I think we probably have a few people in our district that might be able to do a really good job with that, but I would be interested in that.
But I think that's one thing. I think there's a ton of things. Like, I keep thinking about Michelle walking on, or even, even Aubrey this far in, like, there must be things that you hear people say that you think, wow, I have no idea what they're talking about.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, we get to go to a lake house, we chill out, we open a bottle of wine now. Yeah, now I say I have a board retreat. Oh, where are you going? High school library. The high school library. It's just a time where we sort of get together. We're supposed to do it.
But it's not a board meeting, like a meeting.
No,
Just us.
Okay.
no.
So we can't conduct any board business. It's
Public.
really meant for, how do we function? And then
Okay.
also it can be just educational.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do think one thing, especially for Michelle, is I know Erin several years ago created a document for us that goes over all of the, I things for the IEPs and 501c3.
I mean, I can do all of that, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
Well, that's specifically for me too. I can always meet with outside of.
but you know what, sometimes.
But there's new laws coming through right now. I
Yeah.
think it would be actually good for all of us, because those new
Right.
laws are changing the way they have to do their evaluations.
And the thing is that it's always good for us to have, you know, to have, oh, God,
Reviews and updates.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because just because we've been hearing about it doesn't mean that things haven't changed or that we
Right.
need a refresher or things like that. I know that's always a big one though, because there's so much, so many acronyms in there.
Yeah.
And like when you're reading the report that we get to approve the
Yeah.
recommendations for special education, it's like, it's all
Yeah.
abbreviated, so that helps.
That would be a good one too. I like
Yeah.
that one too, Joanne.
And we
and-
need to work on our board goals.
Yeah, we have to do our board goals.
We used to do those BOE workshop sessions that we
Yeah.
have before the meeting. I think those. I remember I used to always do one that was like a half hour financial, like overview the treasurer's reports, which I thought were
Mhm.
useful for you guys, but
They were.
we got away from that a little bit.
I think that if everybody thinks they could get here a half an hour early,
I think that was-
or would be willing to try to get here a half hour early.
It's gonna start at 5, right? We have it starting at
You want
5.
us at 4:30?
No, wait,
Is that
what's
what you're
starting? No,
suggesting?
no, I don't mean, no, during the school year,
Oh, at 5:30 instead of 6 when we do those
Oh.
little pop sessions.
right? And it's not every board meeting. We used to do what, 4 a
Yeah,
year?
it's for various
Um,
topics for-
Yeah, they were like little pop
Yeah,
sessions. and
but,
you'd go-
You know, like especially before budget season, going over some of the budget stuff. And how to read all of the treasure reports that we get. What are all of the numbers mean in terms of like the categories? We usually do one on the roles of board members. But we would keep it to 4 a year, and it was just a half an hour before our public meeting. And it's still in public, it's just,
Yeah, people can come if they want.
yeah, we don't do any business. It's purely educational for us. But is there anything that you guys would like to see happen during the retreat?
The retreat specifically.
Yeah,
No, it's all, I'm learning, everything's new to me, so.
right.
Yeah.
But like going through this, was there anything that, you know, I'd like to learn more about that, or I didn't necessarily fully understand something, or,
I think all of it is still, like I just said, new, but I wasn't necessarily making a mental note of.
okay.
But I think whoever mentioned the IEP, learning more about that
Mhm.
would be helpful too.
Yeah. And like I said, I like having refreshers on it.
Yeah,
Even
And
just like an open Q&A, like a carved out session for like open Q&A. Just like whatever, maybe between now and then, we can make like a list of
Mhm.
things that we want to learn more about, and then just kind of like have a
Yeah.
space to ask questions, which could be good too if we have the student members there. So they might come with a list from a student's perspective of things that they want to ask about.
yeah, I think that,
They might not have time yet.
but what
Or
I,
if like the student comes for like the first hour. if they
and
want
that's
to ask.
because usually half an hour before we have like breakfasty type things and, you know, I think if we can at least have them come for that so that,
It's a little more accessible for them.
Well, I don't, and again, this is just my view. I was thinking that if we could just do a separate onboard thing like we did with the board members,
Mhm.
I don't know,
I think Joanne does that. According to the regs, Joanne's supposed to onboard the students.
but I meant just even to meet them.
Oh, yeah,
That-
yeah.
That, I don't,
okay,
might not do the right terminology, but I think that the retreat,
okay.
I don't know, personally, I think it might be a little bit like awkward.
And I
for
do
them
keep forgetting
starting
we're-
Brand new coming in
Yeah,
and starting out, and it just, I'm thinking that if we did something before a board meeting where we can introduce ourselves, introduce and talk about, or even have a small time that we can, yeah, something a little informal.
well,
where it's-
and that's what kind of what I was talking about, having them come the retreat for like the first half hour or so we can meet them, and that was all I mean. I didn't mean for them to stay for the whole,
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, again, this is just my view.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not on that night.
Okay.
But a totally separate, but
He's
do that
talking about like on a
separate,
board night.
yeah, not on the.
Yeah, on a
Yeah.
board night. I'm wondering if, maybe if they, I think we're gonna have supper, right?
Yep.
For the board retreat. So we'll have,
Our board retreat is before the next official board meeting.
right. So we would have our meal, they could come for that, right? And then,
But will we have chosen representatives by then?
They won't have been appointed yet.
Right. So maybe Tom's right, we do it on a
okay,
different night, before a board meeting.
okay,
To me, it just gives a little more respect and dedication to them specifically.
Yeah, no, that's good. Is there anything that you feel that you would like, because I know that in the past, we've also done like the Medicaid compliance presentation
Yeah, well, I
at a
mean,
retreat or,
just back then, I mean, I used to do that horrible training all the time, and so we didn't have to do it anymore I mean, I used to, like, whatever, like, was an initiative that we needed to undertake, that always had an acronym of some sort, and,
Right.
I would do a presentation to the board to explain what that is, so that when you heard that, you know what people were talking about, or somebody asked you out in the community, what that meant. I think the CSE process is definitely something that, especially for new members, but then it should a refresher for everybody.
Mhm.
We could definitely do. And, associated with that is things like MTSS and, and then as, was suggested PLCs, what is that? You keep saying that, what is that all about? I mean, there's lots of things like that we could do.
I think we should start a sheet with all of these things because we used to have those folders that you gave us with every meeting. And if we could keep those things like all of the abbreviations for the CSE stuff, or
Maybe, yeah, we could put together like a
thought we
resource.
had one, didn't we have one a few years ago?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the document that Erin had put together that
Yeah.
explains everything, but maybe if we could have something that, we could keep in the cloud that we could access to, like, as we're looking at stuff
I feel like BOCES created one. For some reason, I feel like I've seen one not so long ago, but I feel like maybe BOCES had created one.
so like, as we're learning about something, we say, hey, can you put that on our document so that
No,
it
we
gives us
had
something to go
one.
back, like when we're reading
Yeah.
stuff, we can go back and refer to it. And have a copy of it like during the meeting, so you could, if you have a question, but something definitely that we could access when we're going through our packet would be, I know they're not packets anymore, but 20+ years of calling them packets, it's hard not to. I think that would be helpful.
So,
And then what about your goals?
yeah, I would say, I mean, everybody's done but Steph and Benny, so, right, so there, sometimes next week we'll have them all set and ready to go, and everybody will be able to look at them, and we can realign whether or not we want to create new ones, or if we want to continue, or if we want to
So
look
do
at it.
that on the 5th.
I would think that would make sense. I would suggest Aubrey and I went to the school goals meeting. Well done, Shannon and everybody for that. But it would be nice if you don't mind, is Shannon come to the board retreat or not? Maybe Shannon could share in a little nutshell what the school is looking at that we went over, and how we can even maybe match some of our school board goals that might be supportive to the school's goals. I thought of that. Yeah, we have a beautiful folder, and we are now officially on the team. But I thought when we were doing it, I don't know, Audrey, how do you think? I thought that might be a good way for us to maybe pick a goal from the board out of there to see, this is where we want to focus to help the school.
Like synergize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
synergize.
Like I said, I
Yeah,
can't make a lot of those meetings, I would like to, but to see kind of what's going on with some of those and on a smaller board level.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do vision and goals, like we have, if you can track down Sean, as they come for this.
Like in Arizona.
I know, tell him he needs to come back for some reason.
So I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just thought that might be something.
No, and she also, like, so at the beginning, she does a presentation.
I was
that
thinking
goes
that
over
too.
our strategic goals and then the initiatives and the professional development that flows from that.
Mhm.
And then when the buildings do their presentations, those goals then
Makes
filter
it
down to the
feel-
buildings and they, I mean, just to bring that all together for you, that's what you were part of,
Right.
is that,
Mhm. Yeah.
but yeah, she can definitely do that. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And we went red and white, is that what we went? Okay.
Please.
Yep.
But we also have to remember that there has to be some, is it just vegetarian or vegan too?
I'm just vegetarian.
Okay, so we need to have some vegetarian options.
I don't get that.
I know, but I'm just, it's.
Okay, yeah.
I think we've given, so I'm fine with any of those suggestions, and we only got, what, 4 hours?
Yep.
So make it popcorn.
Yep. Get it.
Popcorn studies.
I like those
And we'll
I
eat
do
while we
too.
start,
Yeah,
so.
little bits.
Yeah. Do we have to go to executive session for the student thing?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
I didn't know if we were supposed to talk about an hour yet, so that's.
okay, so
I have a
we
board announcement.
don't have a need for comments from the.
Yep.
We do have Board of Education comments now, though.
Just one thing, I am going to that leadership conference in Albany. It's the 1st and the 2nd of August. Yeah, 1st and the 2nd. So if anybody wants to come up, I am not going to be able to stay on the 2nd. So if anybody wants to, I already paid for it and it's fine, but if anybody wants to go up and take my day on the 2nd, please let me know. Of course, Albany's not that far away, or you could go up and spend the night. They have lodging stuff, so just let me know. Cause I have to leave actually and not stay it's only a half day on the 2nd. It only goes until, I think it starts at 8:30 and stops at 1:30, so it's a pretty short day. But I have to go to Amherst, Massachusetts that day instead.
Do they always have that in the summer?
They do. It's always in the summer.
That stinks.
Yeah.
In the winter when you're,
I know.
why would you give up a summer weekend to be in Albany? I'm sorry, that's my.
Anyhow,
Well, I
if
would.
somebody wants to take my
Sorry.
half day, please let me know. I'm sure that they would let somebody take my place.
Yeah, I would love to, but even though that would be a Saturday,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, you want to go up on Friday night, because then you can go out partying too, so, but that.
Oh, so she does have a little fun.
Absolutely.
The truth comes out.
The real reason why she can't get up on Saturday morning.
It was still a public meeting.
My daughter is going to be trying out for the women's national team and
Oh,
she'll be
awesome.
playing all day, so.
Wow,
Cool.
The 35 and older group now.
that's awesome.
She's stretching out her hamstrings. She said they don't move as well as they used to, Mom.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other Board of Education comments? Okay, we do have the need for an executive session to talk over,
Student issues.
thank you, individual student issues. And so we're going to adjourn in that at 8:04.
Motion.
So moved.
Second,
I thought, I'm second then.
yeah, so, no, well, no, you're right, you said motion, so Chris and Tom.
You were asking for a motion.
No, I
Yeah.
was just saying.
And so we will be going straight from executive session to end the public meeting.
So it's here.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna stay